respected.
I guess you're right. I only pick on women. That's why I'm picking on you two jerks right now. You have a vagina.
I support trans kids, trans grown-ups, gay, straight, lesbian, whoever.
Nice faux hawk, you homo.
Pillock, Cack, Brooks. The man, the myth, the scumbag. Many have noted Punk's just fascinating trend of bad-mouthing something, and then, wouldn't you know it, a few years later going and doing exactly what he had that snooty, holier-than-thou attitude over in the first place. This year alone, it appears Triple Nose, the destroyer of wrestling, to WWE what AIDS was to Freddie Mercury. Along with his daddies at TKO, resizing both his and the promotion's increasingly battered back doors on the regular. What was I saying again? Oh, that's right. It appeared Triple Nose is deliberately booking Punk in a way to expose what a double standards dweeb he really is, including getting him to headline night 1 of a 2-night crapathon WrestleMania this year before sending him off to Saudi Arabia. That's right, CM Punk in SA. And not the SA in his eyes when he hungrily stares at the shapely, well-rounded bottoms of young women in NXT. Oh no, I mean Saudi Arabia, as I just mentioned. And while he was there, old Phil took the time to apologize to Muhammad. And don't get excited. It was just some random plant who happened to have that name. Almost everyone, including this channel of course, has trashed the punker for his blatant, comical hypocrisy. Well, in all the ruckus, someone even worse slipped through the cracks. Someone with 1/1,000th, if I'm being very generous, the star power of Lockport Phil has been lurking in the shadows. An annoying, hammy dweeb who is also a traitor, a Judas, a Benedict Arnold, a Jane Fonda, Hulk Hogan, may he rest in peace. When he dropped the leg on Randy Savage and revealed himself as the Third Man, you get the idea. That man, who is he, you might ask? Well, let me tell you. That man is Gay Kid.
You one ugly motherfucker.
Good grief, look at this guy. You know, there's a classic stereotype of British people being immensely unattractive. And it's a stereotype I agree with. I mean, look at this guy. Good grief, it's like Carl Anderson and Pete Dunne had an immensely regrettable bastard baby together. And I want you all to remember, despite this accent, I'm actually of Irish and Swedish ethnic origins. A nice try, but my teeth are in line. Anyways, Gay Kid is also south of that ever sought after 6-foot mark. And in New Japan, the average height is a little bit lower for the heavyweight boys. It is Japan, after all. But it's still comical seeing them treat him like he's a big boy. Like a serious heavyweight. I know. I had no idea crack was being passed around the New Japan offices either. Over the past 2 years, New Japan have steadily pushed this guy as one of their main rising stars. At the start of this year, he was even slotted in opposite Kenny Omega at Wrestle Dynasty. In New Japan, this is a huge deal, by the way. Omega was a massive star for the promotion at both the junior heavyweight and heavyweight levels, and Kid was booked here as a crusader for New Japan, a hero for the promotion, a man who can't even speak Japanese, being a patriot of New Japan. None of the many fairly promising young Japanese guys on the roster right now got this spot of standing up for the company. No, that would make too much sense. One of the dime a dozen Gaijin who will fly to America the moment someone pays enough did instead. Yota Tsuji? No. Shota Umino? No. Ryohei Oiwa? I think that's how you say it. No. Ren Narita? No. And I don't care he's a heel, he still would have been better here. Unfortunately, Yuya Uemura, the best fit for this role, was injured at the time, but if he'd been well, I guarantee Kid still gets this spot over him. Kid puts some very poorly fitting undies on with the New Japan Lion logo, and he wrestles a pretty good match against Kenny Omega. The best bout machine still lives up to his name a lot of the time. And at that point, Japanese fans were actually ready to humor the latest middling white guy New Japan were gearing up to just ram down their throats. Kid starts getting a little more solid fan support, and New Japan more recently put their global title, that being a zero prestige secondary world title of sorts, on him. Isn't that delightful? This company man holding some gold. Wow, yeah, great stuff. Loyalty pays off. Not quite. During that time, Gay Kid, the man who stood up for New Japan and time and again harped on about his own relentless loyalty to the promotion, was faffing around as a backup pack up, if you will, for Jonathan Moxley and the Dick Riders in AEW, all while saying he was a New Japan man, a workhorse for the promotion. Utterly ridiculous. Well, Mr. Workhorse goes and blows out his knee on day one of Workhorse season in New Japan. The G1 Climax. This used to be an awesome tournament too. 2014, 2017, and 2019 in particular are well worth checking out from more modern eras. Gay Kid blows his knee out opposite Konosuke Takeshita and misses the rest of the tournament. Injuries are no laughing matter. The guy's out. If he can't work the tournament, he may well be out for a while. That's a shame. Ah! Yeah, right. Mark! Forbidden Door blowing on in right after the G1. Truly awful timing to try and book a crossover show with New Japan, really. Is in the UK this year. That's where Gay Kid is from. And isn't it interesting how New Japan had Haruki Goto, a beloved veteran enjoying a popular world title run, and Yota Tsuji, a fan-favorite rising star, holding their pointless secondary heavyweight belt? And both of these guys that Japanese fans might actually want to see just happen to lose to British guys no one cares about ahead of a stupid AEW show in the UK. I know Zack Sabre Jr. has fans, but he is not a draw in Japan. And were these two Brits winning these belts right before a stupid AEW show in the UK? Was that coincidence? I think not. Forbidden Door is here, and so is Gay Kid, and wouldn't you know, he's in a big, crazy, multi-man cage match where he takes a sizable table bump. I'm a madman, don't you know? I'm pretty sure this guy's from Nottingham. I have no idea why he tries to talk like a Guy Ritchie character. So there you have it, less than a year after doing the whole, "Oi mate, I love this New Japan, innit?" He's angling for a slice of that Moxley cake with a double serving of Khan sauce. Shameful! What a capitalist pig! It's times like this I truly miss David Starr. I wonder whatever happened to that guy. Right, well, anyways, New Japan have a severe problem. They seem to hate their own people. That being Japanese men who wrestle for them on a full-time basis, especially those who dare to be under 35. And with that in mind, it's worth mentioning they seem to especially despise their new generation of native talent. Yuya Uemura, elite-level technical wrestler with some strong babyface charisma, mid-carder with a Terry Taylor haircut, despite what Hiroshi Tanahashi says about him. Yota Tsuji, charismatic powerhouse. Japanese crowds clearly want to support this guy, booked like a choke artist a lot of the time. Ryohei Oiwa, tough guy. Got a bit of a young Kensuke Sasaki vibe about him. Very promising talent. Losers, mostly. Shota Umino, very talented, intense wrestler, awesome moveset. Cut off at the knee with bizarre booking where he's barely allowed to have an identity of his own at all. Any of these guys could front the promotion with a sustained push and effort. Any of these guys could be the next Naito or next Okada or whatever the hell. But no, you will get cheap heat, Western style, House of Monkeypox shenanigans, strictly mid-card Westerners, and AEW nonsense, and you'll like it, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
New Japan are committing what I believe is called seppuku before our very eyes, and it's a tragedy. They've taken a sword named Tony Khan, and they've run it through their own belly, all while swearing to never put the top prize on a top young talent ever again for some reason. Now, As for Gay Kid, clumsy brawling, telling people you're a madman, and walking a little funny is not exactly the second coming of Stan Hansen over in Japan. Back in 2023, the War Dogs arrived on the scene. They're a humorless take on the Bullet Club, sorely lacking in the personality and colour of earlier incarnations of the group. David Finlay was and still is the ill-fitting leader, and Gay Kid the ill-fitting crazy guy. The real star potential in this group when they started was Alex Coughlin, who had a distinctive voice and promo style, as well as a strong, heavyweight look and offense, a lot of physical presence and charisma. Very promising talent. At that year's G1, he actually wound up with more points than Kid, including a clean singles win over the increasingly crippled Hiroshi Tanahashi. Not that that means much, ever since Chase Owens got a win over the guy, of course. Which, to put it in perspective for people who don't watch much New Japan, if you watched WWE back in 2002, think of that time Rico beat Ric Flair and you'll understand how we all felt watching this. Now, last year, the War Dogs sent Will Ospreay, or Osprey, as a certain out-of-touch old Canadian might say.
There's a reason Ospreay came here.
Packing from New Japan during a ridiculous multi-man cage match more injury-prone than Greg Oden. WWE has their watered-down take on the classic War Games, just called War Games. AEW has Blood and Guts, and whatever that thing at Forbidden Door was, a lights-out cage match. Whatever. And New Japan has the Dog Pound cage match. Good grief, these names are awful. And none of them, frankly, none of them, and I don't care how I sound here, none of them match up to the prime of TNA Lethal Lockdown back in the mid to late noughties. That stuff slapped, as the kids say these days. Anyways, shortly after that disaster zone of a match wrapped up, Coughlin, a guy who had future WWE top star written all over him, was tragically forced to bow out early due to severe neck issues. He is retired and we probably won't see him again. Unless he makes a few, say, miracle trips to Colombia. But anyways. Now with Coughlin gone, even more spotlight wound up on Gay Kid. In the over 2 years since War Dogs came to be, David Finlay has grown considerably as a performer. I see fans making fun of him, questioning his push, saying his body reminds them of one of those big bags of milk you can buy in Canada, the land that cartons forgot. And I mean, sure, yeah, he could do with tightening up his diet, but the guy's ring work is excellent. All of his moves look brutal. He carries himself with a lot of rage and aggression. He works stiff, and he takes the time to actually sell consistently. This guy is a good wrestler, and I'm sure that inevitable trip to the Performance Center, probably in, say, a year or two, will see him tighten up the physique and sort out that tub of Vaseline he drops in his hair before matches. Gay Kid, though, well, this guy's push is a psyop. In 2 years, every match is the same cumbersome brawl, the same stupid shouting non-stop, the same goofy, strong-style exchanges. The only thing that's changed is he switched out his hair for some tacky tattoos. And when he finally hit a note that actually landed really well with Japanese fans, that being him as a company loyalist, he very embarrassingly exposed himself as a fraud just a few months later. What a clown show! Any wonder New Japan is dying, jerking off to these mid-card gaijin when a whole crop of Japanese main event talent just sit around, twiddling their thumbs, in credibility-destroying choke artist angles. So yeah, give it some time, not even that much time, and Mr. New Japan, if you can even call him that, will be Mr. All Elite. And it honestly wouldn't shock me if bringing him to AEW this year was all by design to expose yet another hypocrite in the industry of blatant fakery. Maybe Tony Khan can throw some money at Chris Charlton next for the same reason. It would appear that Zack Sabre Jr. is the only one actually loyal to New Japan. Of these guys, Tony Khan is constantly flicking his bean over, running his crummy little hands through New Japan like a kid through his toy chest. Shameful! AEW have turned a once mighty promotion, the leading figure in Japanese professional wrestling for many years, into a submissive feeder league, losing all their top talents to a supposed friend promotion, being gutted like a freshly caught fish. Disgraceful. Trash WWE all you want, but they're yet to completely decimate any of the promotions they work with, the way AEW have done to New Japan. And I want to be very clear, when I say WWE, I am just referring to the Triple Nose regime. Thank you. So to sum up, Gay Kid sucks. And at least CM Punk, who we all clown on, at least CM Punk is a real star who brings real value to the products he performs on. He does interesting feuds. He's got a good knack for working quite an old-fashioned style of singles match. I'm not a fan, but at least the guy brings a lot to the show he is on. This guy, though, this Gay Kid, a traitor and a poser. Abysmal combination.